Hi, hello dear students. This is Rana Ramadan, English teacher. Today I'm going to talk to you and work with you on the Year 3 Literary section. For sure, thanks in advance to Miss Lubna Abu Saleh, our supervisor here. Well, this unit here, History of Writing, of Poetry. As you see, when we deal with any new text, it's highly recommended that the student should have a quick reading. Just have a look to the text that we're dealing with, just to figure out what's the text about. Here in this text, we have, for sure, the title of the text itself. It indicates what's the text about. History of Writing. It's going to tell us about the development of history. Now it's good for any learner when we deal with the new text to figure out and to define the main ideas of the text. What are the main ideas of this text? Now, the first paragraph, as you see here, these are the main and the most prominent ideas within the text. Poetry here, we have the definition of poetry. What's poetry? Poetry is an imaginative experience form expressed through meaning, sounds, and rhythmic language to evoke emotions. So, it's the music of words to evoke emotions. Next, it traces back the very beginning of poetry. The epic form. The epic form was the first form of poetry that was discovered in the exhibitions in Babylon, like the epic form, the Epic of Gilgamesh. It dates back to the 20th century BC. The most notable works of epic, the Iliad and the Odyssey by Homer, the Greek poet. Then we reach to another form. It's the sonnet form, which was best known by William Shakespeare, the British poet. The following to this part in our text, we have the following to the reign of the Queen Elizabeth I, poetry saw a rise of literary elites. Elites like the best among the group of any group of people. Now when we talk about elites, we talk about the elites of poets that add to this era of literature. The form of mock heroic and the use of poetic form of satire. The best example for this form of poetry, the satire form, it was Dryden, who was an example of using poetry for comedic ends. The Romantic movement was crucial. It was a crucial point in literature and as well as in poetry. In the history of poetry, poets like Blake, William Wordsworth, Shelley, Keats represent this movement in history of poetry. For sure, by the end of the 20th century and 21st centuries, modernism and the world war had its impact on poetry too. Well, dear students, these were the main ideas of the text. Now, when we deal with a new text, usually the text can include so many new words in the text. Don't bother yourself with these new words. It's highly advised that a student predict the meaning of the words within the context. And then it's good to use these words in new and creative sentences using your own composition. Now we have some highlighted words that are the keywords of the text. We have here the definitions of these words, and I will give you just 1, 2, or 3 minutes to think about and match these definitions with the words, the new words. The first one, a group of people who have a lot of power and influence because they have money, knowledge, or special skills. What do you think? The word that was included in our text that match with this definition. Yeah, good. Well done. Let me see. It's a light. A poem with 14 lines which rhyme with each other in a fixed pattern. What is it? Wow. Let me see. It's a sonnet. Making fun of people. when you make fun of people, what is it? Yeah, it's to mock people. Things inherited from procedures or the past. Legacy. The activities of digging in the ground to look for old buildings, objects that have been buried for a long time. Excavations. The arrangement of sounds in poetry into patterns of strong and weak beats. Meta. The lines end with the line end with words that have very similar sound. Rhyme. It's a rhyme. The period in Europe, especially Italy, in the 14th and 15th and 16th century, when there was a new interest in art, literature, science, and learning. We call this period Renaissance. The use of humor or exaggeration in order to show how foolish or wicked some people's behavior or ideas are. Satire. So these are the new words that were included in our text that we call them vocabularies. The more you learn a new vocabularies, the more you are able to learn and master a foreign language. Well, now we move to the vocabulary section in our unit. Here we have figures of speech in poetry. Figures of speech in poetry adds a living sense to your way of expressing. Now, here we're just reminding us of 3 figures of speech in poetry: a metaphor, a simile, personification. What is metaphor? Metaphor is a figure of speech that describes an object or action in a way that is not literally true. So it describes something that's not literally true. For example, the streets were ferns. I can't walk anymore. Yes, when you say life is jungle, it's not a jungle, but it looks like a jungle. So it's not literally true. Simile is a phrase that uses a comparison to describe something. But here we have a comparison word like or as. Like a box of chocolates. When you see in Arabic, we say, she has a fair face like moon. It's a simile. Again, we have personification. Personification is a figure of speech in which an idea or a thing is given human attributes and feelings, or is spoken as if it were human. It is non-human thing. It is a common form of metaphor in that human characteristics are attributed to non-human thing. So we attribute human characteristics to non-human things. For example, I like onions, but they don't like me. As if onions have feelings and emotions and they don't like others. When you say, for example, death swallows many innocents. Okay, we are resembling this to a person, to a human being that can swallow. Hunger bites many Africans. So hunger never bites, okay? But it's a kind of personification. We attribute a human characteristic, biting, to non-human thing like hunger. Now we have this nice exercise. Let's now test our experience and our understanding to the concept of figures of speech that are mentioned above, metaphor, simile, and personification. What type of poetic device is used in each sentence? Have a look to this exercise and these sentences. Who was as brave as a lion? He was as brave as a lion. Here we have a figure of speech. Can you guess, dear students? Well, fine. Let me see. It's a simile. You see, we have as brave as lion. All the words a stage, and all the men and women mirror players. They have their exits and their entrances. William Shakespeare. Okay, it's taken from the play As You Like It. What do you think this figure of speech here in this sentence? Yeah. The world is a stage and all men and women merely players. Well, yeah, it's good. It's a metaphor. Death lays its icy hands on kings. Yes, it looks like a human being that has hands. What do you think this figure of speech? Again, let me see. Well, fine. It's a personification. My love is like a red rose. Is like a red rose. Look at this word, like. It's a significant one. Do you know? Well, let's see. It's a simile. Fine. Death, where's thy sting? Or grave, where's thy victory? It's a personification. So, figures of speech are just a way to add a kind of living sense to your speech. Okay. Now we come to pronunciation section in our unit. Emphatic stress. What's emphatic stress? Well, simply speaking, when we want to emphasize certain information in a sentence, we stress that part. Note we usually stress the keywords in sentences such as nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. When you change the stress, so you change the whole meaning. How? For example, if I say, for example, I love Adam. I love Adam. I stress the word love. This means that I love. I don't hate, not neglect, not sin, not give. I love. When I stress like this, I love Adam. I love Adam. So it's Adam, not anyone else in the world. It's Adam, only that I love him. So the whole meaning changed because I changed the stress. So take it easy and try to apply the concept of emphatic stress in your speech. So the stress varies according to the speaker's point of view and the intention. Now, let's see this nice example to test our understanding and the way can we apply the concept of emphatic stress. We need to be at the meeting at 4 o'clock. This is a sentence that's given in our book to apply the concept of emphatic stress. Here we have 4 options to stress words in this sentence. So we have 4 options and 4 different meanings. We, if I stress need, if I stress meeting, if I stress for. Now match the meanings below to the stressed word. If I say, for example, the time of the meeting is at 4. So what's the word that I stressed in this sentence? Wow, what do you think? What's the stressed word in this sentence? Okay, let me see. It's for. And again, it's for. Yes, the word for, the time, I mean that the time of the meeting is 4. So I focus on the word for, I mean timing of the meeting. You and I have to be at the meeting. Yes, so I stress the word we. You and I, we need to be at the meeting at 4 o'clock. We must arrive at the building earlier. So it's a must. We saw the urgent need to be there. We must arrive at the building earlier. We need to be at the meeting at 4 o'clock. So we stressed the word need. Yes, need. The meeting is at 4, not the match. It's the meeting, not the match. So I stress the word meeting. Well, fine. Well done, dear students. Thanks. Now, let's move to the next part of our unit. As usual, we have this part that's most important one, grammar, like the main course of our meal. Now, grammar, usually we have a topic that we have to focus on. Now, we are going to revise passive voice. Dear students, when you want to change into passive voice, remember that you have a golden rule, the most important one. just reorder the sentence. Start with the object, with all tenses. Here you see present tenses, okay, with the simple present, with present progressive or present perfect. All tenses we start with the object, and all the time we use the present, we use the verb with the third category, past participle. Usually students, they say verb 3. It's okay. With the regular form, we use ed form. With the irregular form, we use the third category, okay, or verb 3 as they say. So, with simple present, we use object plus am, is, are, we agree with the object, and past participle. With the present progressive, we use object plus am, is, are, plus being, plus past participle. Present perfect, we use object plus have or has, it depends on the object, plus being plus present past participle. Future or modal verbs like can, could, shall, should, will, would, is going to be, have to, all the family of modals and the future form, we use object plus modal verb plus be plus past participle. For example, it will, or it can be done, okay? Now, with the past forms, again, we just shift from am, is, are, verb to be, into was, were. And for have and has, we just replace them by had. Past tenses, simple past, object plus have, were, plus past participle. Past progressive, object plus was or were, plus being, plus past participle. Past perfect, object plus had, plus being, plus past participle. So remember, my dear students, all the time when we intend to change into passive voice, we have to make sure that we reorder the sentence to give the passive voice and change it from the active one. Fill in the gaps with the correct passive voice. You see here we have an exercise to test our experience in working with this grammatical topic. I'm sorry, this office is so dirty. I'm sorry, this office is so dirty. But it, we have here in brackets, can, not, and clean. So the sentence should be negated one. Until tomorrow. How can I change from active voice into passive voice? Well, thanks. It should be can't be cleaned. So the office is the object. Can't be cleaned until tomorrow. This clause designed for daily use. Here the sentence refers to a fact. It's a general fact. This clause designed for daily use. How do you change this sentence from active voice into passive voice? Well done, thanks. These clauses are designed for daily use. Many offices built in the town center recently. You see here the word recently, it refers to the present perfect tense. Usually we use it with the perfect. Many offices. How can you change the perfect tense into passive? Yeah, let me see. Fine. Many offices have been built in the town center recently. All the goods with defects sent to the warehouse right now. Right now, again, it refers to what tense? Yeah, it's present progressive. How can we change into passive? Yeah. All the goods with defects are being sent. Okay? Camera footage shows that illegal goods smuggle. Here the word is a smuggle and it's a regular verb. Last week refers to simple past tense. How can I change from active voice into passive voice with the tense, the past tense? Okay? Simple past tense, we use were smuggled. Were smuggled. Okay. Now we come to everyday English. You know, this is so beneficial part in our unit. Yes, because it teaches us how to speak in situations, normal ones, that everyday situation that we face. Asking for information. How can we ask for information? Well, we have here a dialogue that shows a way to ask for information. We need to be accurate in the way we ask and tactful at the same time. Can you tell me how much sightseeing tour cost, please? So here I'm asking about the cost. Can you tell me? I'm asking for information about the cost. Certainly. The half-day trip is 10,000 Syrian pound. This is the answer. Now again, I'm now learning how to ask. So the highlighted words here in the dialogue refer to the way I'm asking for information. And when does the boat leaves? No, there are departures at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. every day. Now the question here to ask for information. Is it necessary to book in advance? Is it necessary to book in advance? Well, the answer, well, the boats are always very popular on fine days. What happens if the weather is so bad? Okay, well, if it is really rough, of course we cancel the trip. Now look at the question. What happens if the weather is bad? It's asking about information, certain information, if the weather is bad. What's the weather going to be like next Saturday? I'm afraid I really don't know. Why not take a chance? So here we're just learning how to ask about particular information, the way, the form we can express our questions, but we focus on certain information. Can I know? Can you tell me? When? What? So we are asking for information. Well, dear students, thanks for being with me today, and hope you feel benefit from our lesson. Well,